Good morning. I'd like to call the second Ag Committee meeting for the Senate Agricultural Committee to order. Nice to have everybody back this week. Before we do, I wanted to introduce a guest. I've got Max Chapman with me. It's a friend of the family from Murray. He's paging with me today. And as you know, that comes with getting to lead the pledge. So if everybody stand and say the pledge, please. Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Carpenter, Senator Deneen, Senator Funky Fromeyer, Senator Nunn, Senator Reed, Senator Richardson, Senator Webb, Senator Wilson, Senator Yates, Senator Boswell, and Chairman Howe.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. A couple of house cleaning measures here. First of all, I believe that there was a handout going on that is improper and out of order. And just to remind everyone that comes in, if you want to have materials distributed, they have to be distributed with the advice and approval of the chair. Anyone that was received any materials for this before this meeting feel free to disregard them. They will not be made part of the official record or the packet. We are back here to finish this up. I'm glad we are. Thanks for everybody for manipulating your schedules and everything. We're trying a different type of committee meeting process and procedure and trimming down the time on some of the committees. And like anything else, when you try something the first time, there's some kinks that we got to work through. So coming back at 8:30 on a Thursday is one of the work throughs on this. But I appreciate everybody's effort in doing this and coming back in. We need to go back in a matter of procedure. Before I do, does anybody have any guests in the crowd they want to introduce other than me? There was a committee sub for this bill. We need to go ahead and reintroduce the committee sub and have it approved. Do I have a motion? There's a motion and a second by Senator Webb and Senator Yates. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. All right, here's how we're going to handle this. We had testimony last time. We have some people signed up to vote, to speak. We're not going to do that this morning. We've talked all issues on this. I want to start off with where and why we stopped by having members that have questions. I know, and thanks to everybody that involved on both sides, all sides, whatever it is, however many sides this thing has, that stuck around after the meeting Tuesday and talked through things. I think that's a good way to handle everything. But I want to go back. I apologize. I had some follow-up questions too from Tuesday. I believe we left off with Senator Reed. You have the floor. If you still have questions or anything, please feel free. You got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question, and it's basically what type of testing will be used to earn the Kentucky seal of approval, if you will, for the folks that we're bringing into the fold here as far as approved by the state of Kentucky.
And I think our non-veterinarian dental practitioner answered that the other day. The International Association model that's utilized with the testing or any other accredited. And the board is here to talk about that if need be, and we have allied health professionals now that we're just folding two more categories in there to what's existing per the statute, but it's a internationally recognized testing model that's quite stringent and requires education and continuing education.
Also, is there a time? I think you might have this in the bill. Remind me, is there a timeline for this to happen? For the folks to come? I believe I heard 18 months.
18 months.
Okay.
And most of and that's just, kind of a life happens grandfathering in of people that have been doing this sometimes 7 generations. I mean, of individuals that are out there doing it now and have been doing it, and to allow them time to get their personal affairs. Some of them have other jobs, to accommodate schedules and life happens issues, whether it's treatment or sickness, illness, caretaking, whatever it would be. We felt that was a pretty reasonable window to weed out those individuals who don't want to, because they've been doing it for years.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Anybody? Senator Deneen? You were next on the list on Tuesday.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you expand on the grandfather clause and why we're going back 5 years specifically for that? I believe you've addressed a concern about testing, and I do have my concerns there. Along with that question, I think there's a twofold issue here. Are we opening a can of worms here, where our veterinary practices are going to be inundated with specific laypersons, not only just for dental care for horses, but does this set a precedent, in your opinion, that would open up them to treat, say, specifically other certain animals, and we're going to fold those in too, continuing to chip away at what a licensed veterinarian is trained to do?
Nobody appreciates veterinarians more than I do. I've worked for veterinarians. I utilize veterinarians. I represent veterinarians in my law practice. And I don't think this does that at all. This is, if you want to, I categorize it sometimes as an animal husbandry practice, because owners can do it at home, okay? And most of the people who do this that I've dealt with in my 50 some years owning horses, do it very responsibly and have a veterinarian that they work with. Actually, veterinarians in rural Kentucky have issues with, we don't have enough of them, number one. Number two, a lot of the veterinarians that I've talked to outside of the golden triangle of horsedom don't have time to do it. They don't want to do it. They rely on individuals such as Mr. Talip and others that were here the other day to provide that service, knowing full well if there's a complication or something remarkable about that animal, they will call the veterinarian and work with them. That's been going on for 100 years, and it's going on now. And what we're trying to do is provide a structure. So an individual, when we talked about getting insurance, having training, continuing education, make a registry, so to speak, so you can weed out any bad actor that's there, just like the structure weeding out a bad veterinarian or bad lawyer or bad doctor. So that's what we're trying to do. There's the grievance process, disciplinary process. It's against the law to practice medicine without a license, just like it's against the law to practice law without a license. So we're trying to provide a structure. And just for just a little bit of history, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the way this was handled the other day, because this is what the committee process is about, to answer questions and give members some comfort level with it. But when we did the Modernization Act, veterinary medicine, I worked closely with the KVMA, the Board of Examiners, and veterinarians from all across the state for the Modernization Act we did a couple years ago. This was an issue that was talked about, but we didn't, we set it aside, if you will. Chairman Cook in the House, who's in the horse business and runs a horse farm, he and I thought it was best to set this issue aside and work on it for the last couple of years and have open work groups, which we have done. And the individuals in those work groups, there were surveys sent out by Mr. Talip and his group that practice non-veterinary dental application. There were surveys sent out to veterinarians regarding this issue. We had stakeholders at the meeting. We had a lot of meetings, had a lot of feedback back and forth. We had several drafts. My real notebook with drafts is about this high. I brought the committee substitute. But, to try to get a good product, to provide access and affordability to horse owners throughout the Commonwealth, and to provide a level of care. If you restrict it too much, people, and make it too expensive, there's going to be horses suffer because people either can't afford it or they're not going to call the veterinarian. And the veterinarians that I talk to up home are like, they can't afford us to come to the farm for the 4-H horse or the saddle club horse or the yard ornament that somebody's keeping until they die. So that's the feedback that we got. So what we did, we took all that information